Welcome, everybody. Hi. Hello from EH-yah.
Hi.
So good to be here. Oh my goodness, this is kind of a big week. We are at the end of our all of this programming that we've done throughout this entire year. This is the end, of course, of our spring programming. We have this time together now, and we just really wanted to invite everybody into conversation and to talk about all that's happened this year, and of course, look forward to our culminating performance on Friday of the Unicorn, which we have been so busy working on and pulling this together and really weaving all these threads in. So if you're here with us, please say hello. We would love to see you. Say hello whether you're here on Facebook or YouTube, and we invite you to our conversation. And we wanted to just take a moment to talk about this season. And also, I wanted to take a moment to recap all that's happened so far this year. As many of you know, this is our 10th anniversary. And being this pandemic tide, we have had so many changes in the way we've structured our organization, how we've been amplifying our message and clarifying our message about women's voices and all the work that we do. And I'm seeing Marilyn. Hello, Marilyn, and Madeline. Hello, La Magdalena. Hola, hello. And hi, Hi, ladies. Hello. So glad, so glad that you're here with us. What I wanted to do is just recap these events. So, if you've been following us, we had a very busy fall season and a very busy spring season where we've done all of these weekly events. And I was talking with Kristen and Crossley, and we were shaking our heads over all of that what we did. So I'm going to lay this out for you. So over this year, we've done 4 community sings, 4 spotlight videos, 2 guest artist conversations, 2 guest scholar conversations, 2 roundtables, one and almost 2 performances, 2 webinars, and 6 community workshops. And we've launched our Symphonia series, our free sheet music series, and so much more. Oh, hello, of course, our adorable merchandise. So we, all of this coming out of the massive fundraising campaign in the summer too, summer of 2020. So what we've really done, I think, is cultivate not only, an offering of events, but this community, building a community, and realizing that we need that more now than ever. Kristen, can you tell us what has been, hearing all that list? What's been some of the highlights for you? What have been some of the most fulfilling moments as well?
I think back to the fall and the community workshop, the one that had, I think it was 5 or 6 Monday nights where
Sick.
we
Yeah.
6 where we all gathered. And this might sound silly, but we watched a movie on Hildegard that I had not seen, and we watched it together. I mean, we were all in our own place and separated by a screen, but we knew we were together in that. And my daughter would often start out watching it with me. She's 4. Well, she was 3. And she now knows a lot about Hildegard, and I think that's very special. And then she would fall asleep. But yeah, I would say that's my fondest memory, and what I thought was definitely the most fun.
What about you, Cross?
Um, I really enjoyed the community sings because I love um, when we have folks join us for actual music making. I think that's really special. Um, I also we missed you so much, Kristen, but I really enjoyed performing in the fall just because there was the element of live performance, which I missed a lot at that point. And since then, I've done a lot more. as things open back up and people are singing with masks regularly. But at the time, I really missed that in my life, so it was very, very special to just be in a room with someone performing with them. Yeah.
I have a feeling when we gather on Friday, where is this going? This this will be a really special performance for so many reasons. Um, I think about this year. I've learned so much about myself as a leader and really defining that. But one of the things that for me, was a highlight was two things. And this is maybe a little self indulgent, but one was feeling really proud of myself for actually stepping into a new role, in having to sort of steer a ship and develop content for an online audience. But also, for me, some of the most rewarding work was actually working with Shanda and Doug and developing really unique commissions for EH-yah, and feeling such delight in collaborating with people and inviting them into our EH-yah world and seeing that come to life. It was awesome. So I wanted to say to our audience that we have all of our events, except any of our ticketed events. So all of our free events that were live streamed are on our website and our YouTube page. So if you go to our website, you just click videos in the top menu and you can see all of the events that we've done. And of course, if you go to YouTube like I do all the time, please subscribe to our YouTube channel where you'll also see all of these amazing events that are captured for us, which is so cool to have this library of all of this work. Okay, I have a few more. Marilyn says, I miss the community sings. And yes, the Hildegard film, singing together. Yes. Yes, in spirit, Marilyn. We're all together in spirit. I wanted to ask Kristen and Crossley, what, just sort of thinking about, our past, since we're still in 10-year anniversary mode, what was one of your most memorable moments on tour?
I'll start.
Okay.
I think my favorite tour, just because it went somewhere very special to me, was when we traveled to Michigan. We traveled twice to Michigan, actually. One time we went to Ann Arbor area. But the other time we went to my alma mater, Alma College. If anyone's from Alma College is watching, hello, Scots. And just, I think it might have been the first time I saw many of my teachers after graduating, which, man, that was like, it was a very long time. It was a very overdue venture back to campus, and showing Allison and Crossley where I went to school, and them getting to meet my professors and developing a relationship with them was very special to me. I'll always hold that tour very near and dear to my heart.
Yeah. This is a really tricky question because there have been things about a bunch of different tours that I've really enjoyed and loved. Like I loved singing in Candlelight down in Chattanooga. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I loved going to that restaurant with the weird Elvis theme in Texas. Like they're just like things from each. But I will say that I think overall, when I think about touring, I really enjoy the fact that we are just together elsewhere where, yes, we're working, but there are lots of moments where we're not working and we can just like be people together. And I feel like at home and in DC, we see each other a lot, or we used to in the before times, but it was work. We would get together to rehearse and then we would go home. And on tour, you actually you just get to spend time with one another and do fun things. Like we often we'll go get manicures or we'll go shopping at the cute shops locally. Yeah, they're just that's what I really enjoy about tour.
100% agree. Everything you said. Yes. Um, I I think I always feel so excited to travel. I love traveling, but I always usually get really nervous to go on tour. And I one time, this is the most memorable, but unfortunately not for the most wonderful reason, because I was so ready. Where were we going? We were going to Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I was so nervous that I forgot my dress. So now I got off the plane and didn't have my dress. And there was another time, was it the same tour? That my no, I remember my dress, but we lost my bag
No, that was two separate times. Your dress was hanging
at
in,
home.
I think, in Richard's office. You could like picture it hanging. And then a second time, we lost
You lost your bag.
your bag with all your
Yeah.
music. And I think maybe did you? We bought a dress that time. Maybe a
I,
dress and shoes. I don't know. There's
Yeah,
been two.
one time we went to the mall and bought a dress, and then
Uh-huh.
the other time a bunch of very sweet choir members at the church I think at the church we were singing
yes,
Mm-hmm.
brought a bunch of dresses and you
yes,
tried a bunch on and
Yep.
and had someone else's address on my person. Yes. Hi, Arthur. Yes, I think going on tour does seem to be something that we all will know will come back, but we're all living with this uncertainty and have this bit of nostalgia for things where we could travel and really one of the things that I love is this concentrated focus that you get to be together and to really know that we're here to deliver this beautiful performance and all of the value that that has. It's so nice to crystallize the real intention of what our music making does. I always love going to art museums when we go on tour. That's like my favorite thing to do. Is go to art museums. Okay, I wanted to ask the ladies another question. So this one is: what was the first piece of medieval music that you heard?
To my memory, I'm thinking it might have been in grad school during like music history. And if not there, then in in grad school, I performed Ordo Virtutum at Peabody Conservatory, and that was my first time actually learning and performing anything by Hildegard. So probably hearing music history class and then actually performing was in grad school. Yeah, I mean until and then between then and EH-yah, I think it was, I had a big gap before I did it again. And that was whatever you provided at
Mhm.
that very first rehearsal when we went to your house and with Bethy was there and you made cupcakes.
Mhm.
So yeah, before EH-yah, my it was very sparse. But yeah, I'd say Ordo.
Yeah. What was your impression of that music at the time?
Um, I was very fortunate. I played Humility. And I have goosebumps just like thinking about that production. Um, it was almost all memorized. Um, so memorizing that much chant
Mhm.
is was extremely overwhelming. But at the same time, Hildegard, she has these motives, that 1/5 heroic motive almost at the beginning of so many of her chants. And Humility had a ton of those. Um, it it quickly fell into my body and I was quickly able to memorize it, and then each little piece became its own very memorable like little aria almost. And arias aren't really that hard to memorize. Like if you get used to it, then it's easy. And at first I thought Hildegard, I'm like, I'm never going to be able to memorize it. This is impossible. It's just like a ton of like teeny little neumes all over. Like, what is this? And then you spend some time with her, and it was so good. And I really, really want to do that again. So I know we've been chit-chatting about it for quite some time, and I do want to make that happen at some point in time. Please.
Yeah. What about you, Cross?
Oh gosh. I think, I grew up in a church, and so I had heard chant, so that's the easy answer. Um, but I remember the first time, I think I hope none of my professors from college are watching this because I can't remember what year it was, but maybe my freshman or sophomore, I was in music history one, um, with Dr. Wagstaff, and we were listening to the first melody ever written, or like, do you know what that is? I can't think of what it is off the top of my head. Um, but but it was a recording of what they guess the first melody ever written down sounded like. And I remember like my head snapping and being like, what is that sound? Because the fifths and it was just a sound world I had never really heard before. And then later in that same class, I heard, and I've talked about this before, but I heard the Robin's Mema um, tune from Adam
Mm-hmm.
Diddle,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever heard in my whole life. Um, yeah, so I need to, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was like, I need to know more about this. And that's when I fell in love with medieval music. And I went and I listened to our textbooks had those CDs of like the greatest hits of whatever era, you know? So I went and I listened to all of the medieval music, and I was like, well, this is my favorite thing ever.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But like Kristen, I mean, really, I didn't get to perform it, until EH-yah. And I've done it, with a couple of other groups, but it's always like, ooh, we're gonna do the medieval piece, and so this is so special to me because I get to regularly perform medieval music, which is not something we get to do as professional singers. I don't think often.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I hear that a lot too. And speaking generally to our audience, I hear a lot, about I wish there were more smaller ensembles. I wish there were more early music ensembles that weren't so um, well, we're more accessible. We're more able to participate, and that's something I think about a lot is how to hear how to have an offering that we're inviting people to come and participate in the music making, and we've been talking about that through this year and how to build community and how to have a platform to invite people to come and share this music. I still think about it all the time. Like, how does EH-yah provide a platform for people who love medieval music or early music and need an outlet for it? I may be a broken record when I talk about the first time I heard medieval music. I will say, I should preface that by I grew up in the Jewish faith, and I grew up hearing ancient chants all the time, learning them by ear. And when I heard, I'll never forget, I was a sophomore in college, and I got a CD of my favorite group, a Renaissance group, the Voices of Ascension, and the first track was a chant by Hildegard. It was the O Virga Actia Dema. And I, like you, Cross, like my head snapped, and I'm like, I felt like I was shocked by electricity. Like I talk about it as my lightning, my thunderbolt moment, where I really felt like my life changed in that moment, and flip had a switch had been flipped, and and I got a piece of staff paper because I had no idea how to access it. So I got a staff paper and pen, and I transcribed it from ear, and then the rest is history. but it was so shocking and so life-changing, and I think it's wonderful to hear this sort of origin stories, medieval origin stories. I wanted to ask our audience who's here, if you've been following us this year, what have some of the highlights for you been? We would love to know, because it's so important that we hear from you too. The other major highlight that I'm going to speak for the group here, but I'm certainly going to ask Kristen and Crossley to chime in, and thinking about community and how we've been able to expand that as much as we possibly could this year. And how thinking about, say, a project like Hildegard's Ordo Virtutum, and how to build a community-centered event around that going forward. One of the interesting things, you guys, that I've noticed is that our community is not just in DC, it's all around the world. And to think about, this is something that I think about, I'm curious what you think, how local performances really close in that sort of center of gravity into people that could be in the same space at the same time making music, versus having some kind of virtual community. I'm curious what you think about that.
I think Crossley posted about something on Facebook recently, and I don't want to take words out of her mouth, about, going forward with this virtual aspect and what that means to the audience that's there, the audience that's present in the space with us, and how that's going to change probably now, because of there's always going to be this, maybe not with every group, but they see the outreach. So they would like to live stream the concert as well as having an audience. And if Crossley wanted to talk more about that.
I mean, it's complicated. It's complicated because
Yeah.
I agree that it's amazing that we can reach people on the opposite side of the world. Like that's crazy and wonderful. I think the thing that gives me pause about constant live streaming of performance, and not but just in general. I think it kind of takes the intimacy out of the room. Like for me, a live performance is very special because it is in that moment for the people who decided to come. It's an exchange, right? It's an exchange of energy. We function as much on their energy as they function on ours, and there's something really sacred in that. So I think there can be a hybrid moving forward. I think that events like we have been doing this season can continue, interactive things with which in which we can speak with people across the world. At the same time, if there are live streams of performances, maybe there's a limit to how long they live. Maybe they don't live on in perpetuity. That's kind of how, I don't know, and that's how I feel about, and I'm not even talking about EH-yah right now. I'm talking about in general. I am hesitant to enter a world where we are constantly live streaming and letting everything live forever, because I just think there's something special about having an audience come to a performance. And also, the room is part of the acoustic. Like, the room is part of the instrument.
Yeah.
And it's just, yeah, so it's complicated for me.
Well, you share those feelings with many people, I'm sure. And I just loved the way you articulated it. And thank you. I didn't want to put you in the hot seat, but I just felt like it. I felt like it was important.
I mean, I put it on Facebook, yeah. So it's it's fine.
Yeah.
Thanks, Cross. Yeah, I think these are big questions. I know lots of ensembles are asking questions like this, and I think one of the things we've learned is there's no wrong answers. We're all just sort of adapting to the minute by minute shifts and changes in how we encounter music right now. Um, and I think, to your point, Cross, one of the greatest gifts about being a performer is the energy exchange that we have with those who receive the music. It is a partnership, and who our partners are will look so different in so many different ways. Um, I'm looking at Emily's comment. She says the highlights for her were the roundtable discussions, guest scholars, and the Hildegard performance, and especially Shanda's piece. Yes, Shanda's piece was incredible. To those of you who weren't there, this was a really remarkable piece where our guest Shanda Rule, who is an incredible jazz singer, who is also an interfaith minister and writer, crafted this incredible piece about Eve in the Garden of Eden. And it was just so beautiful. And she recited her own words, telling this new narrative of Eve after she and Adam are exiled from the garden. And it's this beautiful, beautiful piece. I really felt the power of that too. I think we're going to be asking a lot of these questions as we continue into the new season. Before that even happens, we have, of course, our performance on Friday. And I want to invite you all to please, if you haven't already, go to our website and come and join us. Admission is $15, and this show will be up not for eternity, but for a month. Oh, so please come and join our performance. I can't even begin to tell you about how complex it is and how unique and how proud I am of this program. We have music of medieval women. We have texts of medieval women who we call mystics, these incredible readings. We have the Lady in the Unicorn tapestries as our inspiration, and all of this being woven together into celebrating all of these medieval women and ourselves and all of us, as we really, I think of it as a celebration of the soul, as we see the soul come together in union with the divine beloved through music, image, and word. And we really hope you'll join us for that. I also hope, if you are not on our mailing list, to join our mailing list. Luckily for all of the people that are on our mailing list, they will receive many fewer emails from us. You've all been so amazing. We've had so many events to share. So we will still be sharing. We have so much more sheet music coming. And we are designing, of course, we're going to be heading into a new year. And I am going to be offering a new course later this spring, too, that will focus on the notation of Hildegard von Bingen, her chants, and how to read that. And I'm so excited to share that with all of you. So you should be hearing from me soon about that. And that will be really exciting. In the meantime, I am just so grateful. I keep feeling just this debt of gratitude to everybody who's stuck with us and really followed our trajectory, our pilgrimage this year, as we've all been walking together and learning and celebrating together. Kristen and Crossley, do you lovely, beautiful people have anything you'd like to add to say? Farewell.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone who has stuck with us through this. A huge thank you to Allie for putting together a really cool, very different season for Aya. But I think it's been great that we've had so many different elements for, people who love scholarship, they have something. People who love to sing, they have something. People who love to hear performance have something. It's just been really cool. And so I'm grateful. grateful that there's been such interest and engagement.
Agreed. And to all of you who have been to all these events along the way, we appreciate your flexibility when technical difficulties occurred, because we are all learning, and you guys were very gracious while we tried to figure all this out.
Right? Yeah. Yes, agreed. 100%. Oh, well, thank you, everyone. I encourage you one last time to go and get a ticket if you don't have one already. If you don't follow us on Facebook or subscribe on YouTube, this would be a great time to do that, because we love having your support. And we will only be better because we have you in our community. So thank you so much again, everybody. We will see you on Friday. Yay! And then you won't ever see us again. Just kidding. But we'll definitely be taking a celebratory break before we come back with some new wonderful offerings for you. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.